Today I'm going to be looking at 5 points that may mean house prices could collapse, or 5 points that house prices could increase. So are the increases going to lead to collapses? That's going to be the question. In this episode, I'm going to basically cover a few points. I'm going to give you 5 of each. I'll give you a quick recap of the 5 points. So if we're thinking about house prices collapsing, there's possible economic recession risks. The budget's coming in a couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting what happens there. Increased mortgage rates, cost of living crisis, oversupply of properties. And the reason for that is there's been some talks about different rules and regulations for homeowners. So if you're renting out your property, there's some more guidelines you need to get a base leak on, and some tax implications. So people are getting worried and selling up. So there's more risk, more demand. There's changing work patterns. People aren't working like they used to. And there's also a couple of points here about house prices could increase. So persistent housing shortages. So we know we need more houses. Government incentives, rising rental demand, lower unemployment rates, and inflation. So that's a quick overview. The main point of today's episode is to give you an idea of what is going on. You remember my last episode, I talked about, is it the right time to buy a house? Is it the right time to sell your house? And in that episode, I mentioned towards the end, which would have been episode 2 at the time of our podcast, Zulf Talks podcast. You can follow along on zulftalks.com. I'll do a video version of this podcast where you can see what I'm looking at, the articles I'm going to be referring to today, as well as show resources, which basically take you to my page. You can click into show resources and get all the information I'm talking about broken down by section. So hopefully you find that tips helpful if you're considering being in the market at the moment of either buying or selling, or even renting out your house. We're going to be discovering everything today. So looking at Halifax quickly, there's a couple of points they mentioned in this article. I'm just going to recap this article quickly. The gist of it is saying house prices are rising. So in September, the average UK house price reached £293,000, just over, nearing the record of £293,000 from June 2022. So a couple of £100 difference there. According to Halifax, falling mortgage rates and strong wage growth have improved affordability. So there's a couple of little points here. Estate agent Guy Gittins noted that while the market is recovering, it may not be the strongest year, but drops in interest rates are attracting more buyers. So for now, we're seeing things like people are getting interested in taking out mortgages. However, how much are those going through? You're getting mortgages, but how much of those are actually making it to completion and buying houses? There's been an increase in houses coming onto the market, which does mean landlords are worried. So I've done a quick search at the moment for UK house price fall, and BBC are saying house price close to record high, says Halifax BBC News. The average UK house price came close to reaching a record high last month as falling mortgage rates helped. The Sun, I'm not keen on that newspaper. Just a quick summary of this article here. So we've got it on the MoneyWeek. Will UK house prices fall? Latest property market predictions explained. Let's see what's the gist of this article here now. So what we're saying is UK house prices have shown signs of recovery after a period over the last 2 years, particularly due to falling borrowing costs and declining mortgage rates. Following a peak in August 2002, prices dropped sharply after former Prime Minister Liz Truss' mini-budget led to rising interest rates and increased inflation, which discouraged buyers. In a couple of weeks, we have the budget coming up, so that's going to be another thing a lot of people are waiting for, so they're not quite making the decisions yet. Mid-2023 saw another spike in mortgage rates amid inflation concerns, but recent cuts in the Bank of England's base rate, first in August, have sparked optimism for home buyer demand. Some mortgage rates have dipped below 4%, potentially driving up demand and prices. So there's a couple of things there to consider. Current indicators show an increase in average house prices, which we mentioned, and the price index reporting 3.2% annual rise in September and the highest since November 2022. Despite this, the buyer's market persists, with many homes needing price reductions. I've noticed this quite a lot. I'm going to be going through an episode where I've actually gone out looking for houses. I'll be planning to buy a house, and I'm planning to rent out my house. I'm going to be giving you dedicated episodes about speaking to estate agents, professionals locally, and what's what's going on. The Office of Statistics also reported a 2.2% annual increase in the house prices for July, but with signs of slowing growth. Overall, the market remains dynamic, influenced by interest rates, buyer demand, and housing supply. So that's basically an overview of this article that I've been reading here. And these are points to consider. What is going on? What is actually going on? Now, I'm in the position, I want to sell my house, ideally. I want to buy another house. Should I sell now? Is it the right time to sell? Is it ever the right time to sell? Mortgage rates, will I be getting a mortgage on the other house? There's a couple of incentives in the pipeline. I have noticed a lot of houses have come on the market which were previously tenanted, like landlords are selling up. They're worried about these rules coming into play about more structure and more, it's basically favouring tenants. There's a couple of things that have happened. You had seen in the new Section 21 and a few things. So that's basically putting a lot of landlords that weren't doing a very good job before on edge. And they're like, you know what, that's the last straw, I'm going to get out of here. So I'm thinking along the lines of, currently, with this little mini update, if things change in a couple of weeks' time, will people sell up and more houses come on the market, meaning more people can afford houses because they will be cheaper, hopefully, if a lot of them are coming on the market? Will they need a lot of work? If they're coming on the market, how ready are they? If they've been tenanted out and people are looking after the property, does it need a lot of work? Is going to be a question. So consider some of these options, especially if you're thinking about being in this area. And there's a lot of talk about prices will rise this year, U-turn on early forecast. A lot of people are basically guessing. Nobody really knows. So Savills say, this is like a month ago, 5 months ago, lower mortgage rates prompt property firm to change its outlook from 3% drop to 2.5% increase. So I like to look back at articles and see, okay, this is what they said. What actually happened? Were they quite close? It's just a market out there where people are speculating. Nobody's got a mystic ball. We can make an educated guess, but it's difficult. You need to really think, what's your position? What are you thinking about doing? Will it help you to buy now? Will it help you to sell now? But you know what? Don't worry, because this mini little episode, I've basically just given you a little overview of what's going on in the market at the moment. I will be elaborating in my next episode where I'll be speaking more around actually putting my house in the market. So I'm going to be looking at getting an estate agent. I'm going to be speaking to 4 or 5 estate agents, getting a valuation. I'm going to go through the actual process, the motions. And in this podcast, I want you to come along with me on the journey. These first 3 episodes are just building you up with thinking about things that will affect your ability to buy or sell a house. So the next episode, I'm going to be looking at what I can get from a house. How hard is it to value your house and get it listed on the market? Should I sell? And then in that episode, we'll decide based on all the estate agents I speak to. I'll let you be a fly on the wall so you can hear the conversation. So I think you'll find it very interesting. What do you think? You're going to join me?
Working for yourself. I know you love it. Working for yourself. 'Cause I love it too. Working for yourself. Zulf talks about it, making it easy for you. Working for yourself, go be your own boss. Working for yourself, Zulf will help you along. Working for yourself, powered by trusted creators. ZulfTalks.com.